Alright, here we go. Told you I was gonna teach you how to make sourdough bread. Stupid simple sourdough bread. Okay, guys? Showed you previously how to make sourdough starter. Lots and lots of goodness in it. If you guys can see it, it's all crazy and wild in there. It's got lots of bubbles. So, alright, here we go. To start off with, number one, you actually want to bloom your yeast with a little bit of sugar. So, my recipe is nothing more than about 3.5 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of warm water, 1 tablespoon of sugar mixed into your warm water, 1/4 teaspoon of yeast mixed into the warm water, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. The salt you can either put in your warm water or you can put it in your bowl with your flour. Either way. So, we want to test our hot water here and see where it's at. We want somewhere around 100 to 105-ish. She's a bit warm. It's 110. So I like to sort of cool it off if it's just a too bit warm. So if it is too warm, you're not going to get anywhere with your yeast. It's going to kill it. All the wild things in it are going to die, and you're not going to have any way for your bread to rise. So put it in a cooler. Yeah. Put it in a cooler bowl. And I'll bet you just doing that dropped her down. Let us see again. Cold bowl, right? Cool the hot water off. Pour it back into our container that was warm. And yep, we are at 104 degrees. So, 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. Toss that puppy in there. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. The sugar makes the yeast kind of wake up real fast. And we have got 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Oh, I forgot to get the salt up. Oh no, I didn't. Pink salt right here. See, and again, stupid simple. Organize your stuff first. Know that you have all your stuff ready to go. And then go bananas. Or go breadies. I don't know. There's our half. 1.5. Well, we're going to start with a different bowl because I just put 1.5. No, I didn't. That's a teaspoon. Totally thought I put a tablespoon in. Alright. Mix this guy up. Let it do its thing for a little bit and bloom. Start putting our flour into a bowl. So 3.5 cups. I'm lazy. I don't end up doing any form of sifting. Don't need it if you have a whisk. It'll lighten it up just fine. Three and a half. There we go. Yes, I'm nerdy. I put my recipe on the inside of my flour. Wash your hands. Make sure your hands are clean before you stick your stuff in there. And guess what? You can still use a piece of paper inside there. It's not that bad. Alrighty, come on now. Let's get cracking. So, a long time ago, I had a lady teach me how to make bread. And she told me essentially this recipe. She shared this recipe with me. And the one thing that you have to pay attention to with your yeast is making sure that your temperature does not go too high. If you get it over like 100 and I feel like it was like 105, 109 degrees, I feel like at 110 it kills the yeast. So I thought, okay, well, I'll make some bread. She gave me two very, 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 again, stupid, simple pieces of experience that make your bread really good. Number one, she said you have to rape your yeast. Yeah, I know, it's a weird word. She said it's an actual baking term. I've never seen anyone else use it. Seen, heard, never heard. Oh, God. She's the only person that has ever said, you know, just beat the absolute piss out of your yeast and sugar mixer. Oh, okay. I can do that. I beat the shit out of it. And once you get bubbles and such and it starts behaving wildly, then you can just dump your stuff into your flour mixture here and start mixing away. So I like to mix my salt into my flour a little bit. Just a little bit. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just enough to toss it around a bit. Alright. I'm going to touch it. Just warm. So, here's where the sourdough part comes in. How much sourdough do you need? It don't matter. It don't matter for shit. How sour do you want it? Well, okay, that's sour. Like, for real, it doesn't matter. Like, at all. Sourdough is one of the easiest recipes. Oh my God, you cannot mess it up. Can't mess it up. Well, I mean, if you stick to the recipe, you can't mess it up. Alrighty. Let's mix this thing in. So, I start with nothing more than a little bit of spoon action here. And then peeling it off the sides, that kind of thing, making sure all of the recipe gets touched by all the recipe. Everything wants to get mixed. And then after everything kind of starts sticking together a little bit better, I mix with my hands. And once your dough ball gets in there, you are ready to start mixing. So, the gal that taught me how to do the bread, number one, recipe says, just put your yeast in. Okay, so apparently you have to rape your yeast. And dirty little trick number two, apparently if you use a mixer, You crank that puppy up on high. Wait for your dough ball to get together. And once your dough ball gets together really well, you drop a little tiny dribble of oil in the outside of your bowl. And it will release everything from it. And then you crank your mixer up on high, and you'll find this little teeny tiny little nipple of dough that just kind of hangs out at the top. And that's when you know your dough is ready to actually like sit and rest and let it rise. So, but I'm a weirdo. I kind of like to do mine just in my bowl. I'm not big on the mixer thing. Okay, keep in mind I have a KitchenAid mixer. It's not like I don't have one. I can't do it with that hand. All right. Not only am I left-handed, but right-handed, but I'm also disabled. I have got some serious arthritis that happens, and I can't always necessarily use the left side as much as I can the right. So, see, like I said, you don't have to measure. It's just add your shit in. Make it where it just kind of sticks together. Just keep mushing, keep mushing, keep mushing. Bread is one of the easiest things if you understand it. So, how does it end up being one of the easiest things? Dude, way back when, in the caveman days, do we remember what flatbread was? Get a rock hot. Put your flour, put your salt, and put your water, and guess what you're gonna have? Flatbread. So, this has yeast. So, the more yeast you have, the fluffier it is. The less yeast you have, the less fluffy, obviously. And there we go. All right, I think we're sufficiently incorporated. What do we think? We might dump that puppy out and a little bit here. Hiya! So, fold, tuck, all that good stuff. Okay? Fold and tuck, fold and tuck. So I did a whole bunch of folding. Now we're doing the tucking. So now that we've got that guy just kind of sitting there happy, I think we are going to stick a little bit, watch out Wally, stick a little bit of paper underneath it so things don't stick horrendously. And I'm gonna let her rest and hang out underneath the bowl until it doubles in size. See how big we are? About the size of my hand. You know? So, once it doubles in size, it's ready to give it a mush, and then it'll end up being ready to bake.